The last timings were all
Warcraft,
good, so
thank
as long
you
as it didn't
so
have any
much
major
for the
things
kind
go wrong, I
words.
think we would have been
That was a
Yeah, I'm
great
very
tournament,
thankful he decided
and thank
to
you to
DC
all the
on
admins
Kara
who
and
put
not
that
the
on.
Iron
Yep.
Docs, because
Thank
my
you,
attitude
thank
would be
you.
a lot different right now.
Oh, that Iron Doc, dude! I was there. I was like, "There's no way. There's no
Dude.
way they have the damage on the
This
skull."
this Dratnos guy said you had to focus Skulllock.
No, that was Zyra. That was Zyra. saying
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah, no, somebody
Zyra was
said
on-
it. I was like, what?
He was
If I
on
DC'd on that
board.
Iron Docs, oh man,
yeah.
I would have lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought when Skullock was pulled, there was no way there was enough damage to get through that, but I don't know. I also was like
That's why we bring the
one
fire
phase, the one
Yeah.
phase in the Mechagon too. Nobody else was able to do that even on 34.
Oh, really?
Just cranking that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's part of the reason we ended up swapping from Pally back to Priest, was because on the 34 we saw like how close we were, and we knew that with Priest, not only do we get PI, but the bigger thing is that when Nerf is channeling, like on the 34, he was not able to burn the boss for like 10 full seconds of the burn, which means we're also missing his zap damage, and just blood DK single target's outrageous with all
And
those haystacks.
The whole
So-
day, I always had Sigil for that brand, and on the 35, I didn't, so I was sweating a little.
Yeah. But yeah, with Priest, you can actually grip the DK immediately after he finishes, and then both of us take the gate. So we were both like instantly hitting the boss within a few seconds of the burn starting. Whereas with Paladin, like Nerf just missed half the burn. So I think that definitely was required to make that damage check.
Okay, and you don't have to go into specifics here because you may want to hold this one a little bit close to your hand. Why did you play so few Zolgamuxes across the whole entire weekend compared to other teams?
He has too much health.
Okay.
Yeah. He just scales out of control. It's like this positive feedback loop where like the more health he has, then the bigger his shields are, the longer the shields take to break. So the more effective health he has, so the longer he takes to kill, so he gets an extra shield channel off. So it's like, and it gets into this thing where, and especially in a lot of tyrannical dungeons, you're like bloodlusting, blowing every single cooldown. A lot of the times it takes 3 minutes to kill the guy, so you might even get like 2 sets of 2 minutes. I mean, in some of the logs we look at, he effectively, if you count the healing, even with Wound Poison and Mortal Strike, he has like, I don't know, 12 million health, 11 million health.
Oh.
It's like, yeah. And so we were like, well, we can give up 6% stats and just be 3 minutes faster and have a bunch of cooldowns, or we can kill this guy. So that's the way
Yeah,
we
the
see
thing
it.
is, it just never got to that point until you reach the really high keys. Like all the way
Yeah.
up until plus 30s even, it's definitely worth. But you hit this point where his effective health just gets increased so much because of his healing that it just no longer becomes worth. You have to commit too many cooldowns, and he just takes too long for not enough count. Especially if you don't have the full Mortal Strike. It's like if you're playing Rogue instead of Hunter, then you have only 30%, I think, whereas Hunter will bring 50%. So that makes it even less worth.
Yeah, and you guys swapped 2 Rogue from Hunter in Junkyard, right? Along with that
Yeah.
Paladin
Yes.
swap. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like how? I guess first of all, specifically like those choices, what was the rationale behind them, and then how do you guys like make those calls on the fly midday? Because it's not like we saw you go for like strategy sessions between keys. Like you were key to key already, just making a change.
I think the biggest thing is we knew that if we played Priest Hunter from the 26 and 29, we were going to 3-chest both of those because Hunter and Priest are just, better than Rogue, like a more sustained class. Everything just dies too quickly in the low keys. And then once we got to 34, after we 2-chested the 32, that's where keys started to get real. And so we knew that we could just play the Paladin Rogue and time the 34 in the first try and be safe. And we weren't actually sure if all the teams were going to be going 35 or exactly how that was going to look. But then, yeah, basically when we saw that the damage check was so close on the 34, we switched to Priest, and then we switched Necro to Ventir Rogue, and it ended up working out.
Yeah, the biggest reason for Paladin initially is we weren't sure how nasty Grievous was going to be on Gunker specifically, and Gobamok as well. But like for Gunker, Necrolord Holy Paladin is just like, it's built for that fight because it's just constant sustained 5-man AoE healing that just never stops. So on like Tyrannical or like High Grievous, we figure that that's going to bring more value, like more safety basically. Because when you get to these keys, like the 35 junkyards, zap bots just do so much damage that it no longer becomes about like efficiency in terms of DPS. It becomes about what's the easiest way to get through this key without any mistakes and without any deaths. And so while Priest does bring more group damage, Paladin just is more survivable and like has better healing profiles for Gobamok and Gunker. And we weren't sure how Grievous was gonna really affect that. So we knew for Tyrannical that was kind of our plan, but for Fortified Grievous, we thought maybe it'd be similar. But it wasn't actually that bad because, I don't know, with like Holy Priest or even with Paladin, you top people so fast that Grievous never actually gets to a point of being a problem, really, even on the sustained rot fights. Especially with the change to Grievous where like it removes stacks anytime you target someone with a heal. Mm-hmm. So yeah, for us, we basically, once we hit the 34, we saw the damage check. We were like, okay, if we want to make this damage check on a 25, which we do, then we need to make some roster swaps. And so that's when we decided we were going to swap the Priest out and the Venthyr Rogue instead.
Did you guys have like specific routes for lower level dungeons to ensure that you were going to two chest with higher consistency?
Yeah.
Because that's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah, for the junkyard, we had a certain route until we got to 32, and then we switched it for safety. It's slightly slower, but it's way more safe. So, yeah, when we started the junkyards, we were doing just a quick run it down, just go as fast as possible, and then once we three-chested both of them, we took it a little bit slower.
I will say, though, for the other dungeons, we didn't particularly have any plans, really. We just would be slightly more aggressive than we otherwise would be, but ran the same route, I think, most of the time.
Your Iron Docks and Workshop two chests were crazy.
Yeah, that was a big one for us.
Yeah, we also
Iron
spent
Docks,
2
we
hours
spent
on
a lot
Iron
of
Docks
time
this
in.
morning. Like this
Yeah.
morning before the tournament, we were 2 hours on Iron Docks just trying to figure out how we can chest the 30. Like where can we get like slightly more time? And
Did you catch our route change?
I'm gonna be honest. No, it's very difficult to tell. I saw the beginning looked similar though.
Yeah, the difference was when we did. What? Okay, everybody saw. There is no EU team that was watching that didn't see that you pulled the extra pack.
If Tedos didn't see it, nobody saw it, man. Tedos sees all.
They were analyzing our streams for sure. There's no way they didn't catch that.
All right, go ahead.
James-
They probably recorded them too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would've
James,
passed them.
It's on Doju now.
You know when James goes and does the Eyes of the Beast pull and pulls that big Ogron and the pack, and then they proxy the close pack. Well, we ended up switching that, and he now pulls the further pack as well, like the one that's furthest, which that also triggers RP, and spawns the boss. So that way, we were able to kill everything with the Iron Star, and then all we had to do was clean up the 3 infiltrators and then go straight to boss with no RP.
That makes sense.
And that was
It
our
saved
big time
us
save.
about like a minute and 20 or something like that,
holy.
compared to having to play the 4-pack at the end. Yeah, still really tight on time though. It was a pretty clean run as well.
Dratnos, you have any other questions?
No, I think that's about it for me. Congrats again, gamers. You guys
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we'll hop out and let you bask in your victory.
Also,
All right.
make sure you run ads.
Yeah, true.
Yes, sir.
Smash that button.